You see, if anyone said to me, what's your disability, I usually say, you are.
One day I was in a private hire cab. I had a seizure and I woke up out of my seizure on a grass verge because he'd actually taken me out of the cab and he just rolled me out of the cab and put me on the grass verge. Buses, if you think back in time, you had 2 steps and a pole in the middle to try and get onto the bus. How could you do that? It wasn't accessible. So your main choice of public transport was taxis. Now that in itself was still challenging sometimes. Many taxi drivers just didn't really want the problem of trying to load and unload somebody into a taxi.
I'd actually been to an official, an awards dinner for Birmingham at the ICC. Taxi had been booked for 11:30. 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody finally went and physically got a taxi out of Broad Street. Because every time we phoned, the taxi was on its way. Why have somebody who's going to take you more time, both ends of the job? It means you're losing out.
Also, there was the issue as well of kind of, should we put on the brakes? Should we actually look at more adjustments in a taxi to make a journey more comfortable, safer? And sadly there's been some terrible tragic incidences where people have actually died through accidents in taxis. Disabled people are saying, well, where are civil and human rights? But we should be treated equally. So with all this kind of building up, there's kind of voices saying, actually, we've had some quite negative experiences on public transport. Perhaps we should think about training the drivers about disability equality. We put it to the City Council that something really has to be done about this. A negotiation started and eventually they said, okay, yeah, we can see there's a big problem here, we need to address it. Basically, if you want to be a taxi driver in Birmingham, you have to go through this course if you're newly licensed or re-licensed.
It's so important, it's part of making people independent. And that is the most important thing you can do to anyone, is to give them their independence.